Focus. That's the class today in the special time that we find ourselves together again. This time not on a Monday 3:30, but a Tuesday 3:30 Israel time in our beautiful studio in Yerushalayim Kodesh. Thank God we're in the holy city of Jerusalem and in the auspices of Rav Shalom Arush, our wonderful holy host. And we had the pleasure to have an awesome class just this week, and I hope you guys check it out with Rav Davido, Baruch Hashem. I'm just making sure we don't hear me on here. Yeah, we do hear me. Great. So everything's working. In fact, the Wi-Fi is even better than normal, so it must be a special class we're going to have today to remember our mission, our focus, and what we're here for, that we have a positive, a good mind, a good eye, a good heart, how we view, how we interact, how we do things. So once again, just to remind you, please do check out our Emuna class from Rav Davido Weinberg. Rav Davido Weinberg came here, sitting right here with a wonderful musician right where I'm at, and it was unbelievable. The music, the energy, the soul, and not only that, obviously Rav Shalom Arush, he was guiding us towards devoted love, to be really going beyond ourselves. And we invite you again to please send your names to us in all our platforms, and specifically email or DM. All my details are below. You can check it out and all the videos, all the posts we do, and be in touch. Send those names, do that prayer service, 30 minutes a day. That's what Rav Arush is asking. And that's the kind of energy, the positive focus we need to have when we go into a parsha like we are in this week, and also in a time of year, the summertime, as we've gone away already now. The light of Shavuos is starting to fade a little bit. The energy of that Mashiach light, that special energy that came down through the light of the Torah and the merit of the Torah, and also all the holy souls like the David HaMelech, the Baal Shem Tov, as we spoke in our previous classes. Now we have the opportunity, right now, in Tafshin Pei Aleph, in 2021, in the month of June. We're already in June, I can't believe it. We're in the summer months, to really change the way we view the world and how we experience life. Because these months, these summer months, are opportunities, especially when we have Shlach Lecha. Yeah, this parsha is a very big signpost of what's needed for us to work on, how we need to go ahead in the coming months of Tammuz and Av. We're finishing off with the Chodesh of Sivan, the month of Sivan, a very lichtika, lit up month, a month before it gets really hot, before it gets really intense. It's really a climax month of these three previous months, where we already mentioned in the previous class of Nissim and Iyar and Sivan are together. They're three tribes, Yehuda, Zvulun, Yisachar Zvulun, Yehuda Yisachar Zvulun, that's how it's described in Bnei Yisachar, and from the Arizal. So we have, Baruch Hashem, 3 months of chizuk, of inspiration, of Emuna. Rosh Chodesh Nissim, everyone knows, we already started off with Rabbi Nachman's Yom Yiledet, a special day. The 10 crowns were given to the Jewish people on that day, the beginning of those 3 months. And as you begin, so does you end. Hopefully, you bring that light from Pesach, from Sfira, from Shavuos. We bring it with us through the climax of these 3 months. But another point is that we're transitioning, and that's really important when you're making transition, especially in our generation, where we have to be so versatile, where we have to be able to be more flexible than we used to being in the past. The 2021 year is caused us to have a tremendous amount of renewal. And as Rev Y.Y. Jacobson spoke so beautifully, when we're standing up against anti-Semitism and all the things that are going on out there, thanks to a nice class put out by friends of ours, friends of Nissim Black as well, Gad Albaz and a few other friends of ours, Victoria and Rudy, we had the opportunity to hear from Rev Y.Y. there needs to be a renaissance in the world. Yes, a beginning of refreshment of how the Jewish people are putting ourselves out there, how we're performing in a public space, that we need to renew our avoda, renew our inner connection, to make sure that we're really tuned in, especially now, even more so, after everything that happened during this year with the Corona challenge, 1.5 years already, and the fact that I still haven't made it to England, I still haven't made it out of here. But the good news, and this is really good news, I'm very happy to share with you, my parents, everyone should pray for me, be meritorious, because to do the mitzvah of kibbud av v'em, to be able to honor your parents is not a small thing. And I'm praying that my parents next week will be here, please God, in the Holy Land, and I'll be away with them for 1 week, and then the week after I'll be back here in the studio, but they hopefully will be around Jerusalem, so maybe you'll even get to meet my father and bring him in, maybe even next week in my own class. when I do it live from wherever I'm having my vacation. I'm going to put up a shorter class in my vacation location, and hopefully there I can do a little class. Maybe my father will come in, maybe my son-in-law Nachman, we'll see. It could be fun, but let's just wait till that time is made available. The interesting point is the week after we have the ability to host Jodeci. Jodeci is a very special soul. We're going to hopefully bring him in as my weekly conversationalist. Like you see nowadays, a lot of successful, positive podcasts that we listen to, like Joe Rogan, or excusing the language, but other than that, Joe Rogan, has a conversation going on. One of my friends who's putting out a podcast which I was on, I think it's called the Jewish something network, and over there I was there. And on that podcast before it really taken place, where he brought his father on, and now it's become more of a conversation podcast between three people, not just two. So I'm hoping to manifest a little bit like that kind of environment that we have here in the Emuna class on the Sunday night. We have a guest and it creates energy. So I didn't have to sit here by myself, and if you want to hear what I've been saying by myself, we've got, thank God, I think almost 2 years of Emuna class. Emuna's our future classes that I've uploaded, and all the different parshas and different times. And you can go back, and also from all my years of teaching before on SoundCloud under the name of Unity Goldsmith or Midnight Rabbi. There's a lot of content out there, plus my 3 podcasts I put up, the Breslev Israel one, which is Emuna's Our Future, which is what we're talking about now, and then the Unity Flow podcast, and also the Relationship Flow podcast. So you have a lot of content from me already by myself. It would be nice to include people from outside, especially Jodeci is a very special neshama. He came to our Muna class a few weeks ago. I don't remember exactly. I'll get the class and we'll repost it hopefully. But it was something which was very positive to be able to bring him in the studio. He just got, and it will be interesting to see how it's been, the transition living in Israel now the last few months. He came to us a few times, Shabbos Pesach, as well as I've had the opportunity now to be at his simcha. This whole week was a wedding and a Sheva Brachas, and this is time of year where there's a lot of weddings and Sheva Brachas, a lot of transition going on, where people are transferring from being a single person to becoming a couple. And that on the inner level, I was speaking to a guy in the car last night, that we understand that when you become a couple, you become one soul. It's very important to understand the combination of a man and woman, where they seem so different. The amazing thing is that when you're working on the soul level, they truly are one. On the neshama, the neshama is one. And that's the beautiful idea of bringing Ish and Isha together. It creates the name of Yud K, brings a yichud of the Shem of Hashem, of the Yud K Vav K, of the Yud K, the first 2 letters, and also in the times of intimacy and the times of putting the ring on the finger. These are all times where the Yud K Vav K is manifest. So we're making big unifications in this time of year with all the marriage and the weddings and all the opportunities for people to come together and rejoice and connect. So we'd like to share a little bit of that energy through Jodeci and myself. I have a conversation between 2 people now, thank God, who have another half and are able to be in different times of their life. He's newly married. I'm already 20 years married, almost, thank God. And we have the ability to hopefully get into some interesting issues. You guys are welcome to send us what you'd like us to discuss. Usually I focus, like I already have, on the Parsha, and I will continue this week as well. Shlach lecha. What does it mean, shlach lecha? So let's get into it now. Shlach lecha is the idea of having a mission. So after all that good news, we realize that we have a mission. Whatever we're doing in life, there's a special shlichus, a special mission. Shlach is lashon to send someone, but it's also to send them as like an agent. Like I'm a booking agent for people, like Nissim Black, who's, thank God, is going to be doing a bunch of shows in the summer. You guys can connect to me. I've got even a female artist, Judith Gersey. I've got Esther. I've got a lot of artists, thank God. You can go to my list. It's a long list of very talented musicians and speakers and creatives. And obviously Rav Arush is at the top there with his ability to influence on a weekly level together. We work together, thank God. But the idea of being an agent is that you're put in that position, like Chabad do so well, where you're now a shliach. You're now as if the person himself has sent you. So when you become a shliach of Hashem, you have an agent of Hashem Yisparach, the creator of the world. Yeah, he knows exactly what your purpose is, what you're here for, what's going to fulfill you, what's true pleasure, what's going to give you a real understanding what life's about. He's the key to everything, Hashem Yisbarach, the creator of the world, and you have him sending you on a mission. So it's a whole different level of what mission and what our purpose is in this life. We've spoken about it a lot, the idea of having mission, goals, and making a mission statement. We've spoken a lot about it in our United Souls course, which is very practical, bringing it down on a practical level. You can see the link below. We're doing another one next week, Tuesday. That'll also be on my vacation time in where we're going to be in the coast of Israel. So I'll do a United Souls course as well. We had the opportunity to discuss this idea of having a mission. But from the Torah itself, the idea of being a shliach is very, very important for all of us to understand that really it's not just an exclusive group for Chabad who have shlichus, but really it's something we all can do. Everyone in their own level can allow themselves, as the Rav spoke yesterday, or Sunday rather, because we're now on Tuesday already, he spoke about the idea of humility. And someone at the Sheva Brachas yesterday spoke, you have to be very, very humble from this week's parsha. We learn it because it says it was Tov Ma'od Ma'od, the land of Eretz Yisrael is very good. It's not just good, it's very, very good. So we have the blessing to live here and to see, this is another important point in this week's parsha, to be able to have the eyesight, the mindset, and the heart, the open heart, to accustom ourselves to the beauty of Eretz Yisrael. Now, I'm not going to deny, I'm going to say a few stories that point out that Eretz Yisrael as beautiful and deep and spiritual and holy as it is. It's going to come, as it says in the Gemara and Brochas, you're going to enter into Eretz Yisrael with a little bit of challenges and suffering. That's part of the process of being in Eretz Yisrael. And therefore, the challenges, as Meraglim failed, unfortunately, and hopefully we won't, in this generation, we'll return back to Eretz Yisrael, that we'll be able to see the good. We'll see how that land is nourished our Emuna. It gives us encouragement to have more understanding of what Emuna and more wisdom, the way you think about things in Eretz Yisrael. As we spoke, I think, in a previous class from Rav Breslev, he said your mind, it speeds up on a whole new level when you live in the Holy Land. You're able to conceptualize, and you even see this from the startup nation that Eretz Yisrael has been called, and the high-tech advances that we've been blessed with. There's a certain cleverness that's a gift just by living here, just by living and breathing the air of Eretz Yisrael, its holiness. Even if you're not so tuned into it, it has the power to influence you, just like Shabbos comes every week. Everyone, as Shlomo Kalibach sang so beautifully, you start to notice there's a new energy in the world come Shabbos. The clouds are the clouds of seventh day of the week of making a way for Shabbos. That's the whole idea, that everything in creation starts making way for Shabbos. And that's the seventh day, and this is the seventh land. Eretz Yisrael, there's really 6 continents surrounding Eretz Yisrael, and we're in the center, like the inner level. Like we've spoken about, a room is the idea of 6 dimensions. We have right, left, forward, back, up, and down. That's 6 dimensions. And what's the inner level? The inner level is the 7th dimension, which is the idea of Shabbos, of Panemius, of inner content. And that's Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael is surrounded by 6 huge continents. At one point, they were more together at one point, all the different parts of land. I remember learning this even in geography or in science, but the world at one point was all one landmass. But the idea that it broke apart, whenever that was exactly, I don't know, but there was a certain time historically, because remember with the Torah, we have a different way of measuring time, because with spirituality added to the equation, it's something that science can't wait at this point. Maybe you'll get there one day and they'll meet together in the middle. But the concept of this 6 lands or continents surrounding Eretz Yisrael, which is the center of the world. That's why, as you see on the news, or you see wherever you go, everyone's talking about Eretz Yisrael, the Holy Land, and everyone knows it's important. All the religions, the major religions, know of its importance, and it's historically been hugely important, and spiritually for sure. We know from our books, from our Holy Torah, that the Eretz Yisrael, the whole world, was created at the center with Yerushalayim and the Even Shasir, which is in the middle of where the Temple Mount is. That inside that place is the Even Shasir, the stone that Hashem formed all of creation from, and formed the first man and woman, and the whole idea that this is the center point of all of the energy of all creation. So you understand that people right now, they're looking, for purpose, for energy, for focus. So you come to Eretz Yisrael, you feel a different energy, a different purpose, a different focus. And the beautiful part is, even though there's more people going to come here at some point, because Kibbutz Goliath, as there already is so many people who've come, including myself, the land's going to be Eretz Tzvi, it's going to spread out and become spacious everybody. So right now, while we're in that transition point, like I'm saying, from the spring day to the summer, or from going in the midbar, which is where we are in the Parshias, to try to get to Eretz Yisrael, which is what Shlach Lecha is all about, trying to get to Eretz Yisrael. And Devarim is when we're actually in Eretz Yisrael. Sefer Devarim, the next Sefer in the Chumash, is when we're in Eretz Yisrael. So we're right now traveling in that transition point. And it's also happening spiritually, and right now, chronologically in our calendar right now, and in a real way, not just in the macrocosm, but the microcosm. Each of us has that decision. Do you want to come live in Eretz Yisrael? We've had that question a few times to Rav Shalom Arush, and if you go back to those Emuna classes of Aliyah with Shlomo Katz, and came up many times, and even Rav Arush himself said, I think in the previous class with Melech Cohen, you got to look that up, he said very strongly that he would encourage that whoever can should come to Eretz Yisrael now, not to wait. And that's from Rav Shalom Arush. He didn't want to get into all the details. That's each person will have to ask their own, question to the rabbi, and we can arrange that if you get in touch with our team. That's one of the reasons we put these links underneath, so you guys can reach out, directly get a blessing, and speak to the Rav somehow or another, either through myself or through the other people, the other agents of the Rav, literally the shluchim of the Rav. You have the opportunity to connect into that light of guidance, because I've, for example, personally met, and I'm going to say a few stories now of my experience of Eretz Yisrael. I personally met people that have come to the Rav, and they have big businesses in America, and they've got a beautiful house, a big mansion, and live by the sea, and they have a boat, and they have this, and they have that. And they're asking the Rav, will we have blessing if we move to Eretz Yisrael? We might not have that beautiful house and the mansion and the swimming pool and the boat and all the community that we had in our previous location. And we might not have the wealth also, because it's financially a struggle here for many people, seemingly. So the Rav said, no. He said, this is the place, Rav Shalom Arush said, this is a place of abundance, of shefa, of divine abundance. Remember, we spoke about having a mindset of abundance, even during this Corona challenge, to have a mindset that there's a tremendous abundance in the world. There's a tremendous shefa. So even more so, said Rav Arush, in Eretz Yisrael, this is Hashem's land. His eyes, Einei Alecha, is constantly on this land. For the whole beginning of the year, the end of the year, Hashem's eyes are always on this land, always taking direct hashgacha pratis. There's no angels, there's no agents in between. It's pure connection to Hashem in the Holy Land. And therefore there's tremendous abundance, tremendous ability of receiving tremendous light of wisdom, as we already just spoke, but also abundance in physical, in the gashmias, in your blessing. Eretz Chalav Davash. It's a land of tremendous blessing, of flowing milk and honey. Well, what that really means, like what the inner honey, the inner milk, the milk that gives blessing, that gives life, not the way the world, it takes every single physical thing, takes bread, not healthy, takes milk, not healthy, takes every kind of food, beans, even now nuts, everything's not healthy. That's if you go to all these podcasts and you start trying to figure out what's nutrition without going to proper nutritionalists, you're going to be driven a bit mad, because they've figured out how in every single part of food, especially nowadays with all the mess up that the science has put into the food, where it wasn't just straight from the ground, but now it's like being played around with. So all the food, and it's absorbed all these chemicals and all this stuff, but it doesn't seem to be healthy. Chicken's like filled with hormones, and everything you eat is filled up with all this junk, and you start to think, well, what's healthy? So the beautiful thing is that if it's direct from Hashem, Eretz Chalav Davash, without all that impurity, it's a land of abundance. And since the children of Israel have been back, Bnei Israel are back in the Holy Land, this land has flourished. That in itself is a wondrous thing that Mark Twain or any of the great writers, when they saw how desolate this land was, and from what it was supposed to be when we weren't here, and now we're back here. Anyone nowadays, just go and look around. I read in the Ami or the Ami magazine, these vineyards and these high-tech startups and these unbelievable things going on. The friends I follow, Hillel Field, he's like someone who's got like so much going on with the high-tech world. You get to see on his blog so much energy, so much development, so much progression, and all the building going on around here, and all the development, and it's a miracle with our own eyes. The fact we have an iron dome that can protect us from without getting any political at all, just talking about the reality of what we see. That's a very important thing, that people are giving over, different media points, and that's a very important part of having a good mission focus, is to right now to block out all this lies and nonsense online, which is trying to blacken, and I don't mean black in a negative way, I mean darken the reality of Eretz Yisrael. So that you have someone like my good friend Nissim Black, who's right now in the US. What's he saying on his Instagram live? How much he misses the kedusha and just the warmth of Eretz Yisrael. He's in New York, it's miserable weather. He wants to be back in Eretz Yisrael. He's missing it. He says, the words he uses, I'm jealous for Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, because he understood that. His soul woke up when it came to Eretz Yisrael. I remember his first trip. I had the pleasure to host him here, and he was alive. He was excited, and he was all about planning how he's going to get back to Eretz Yisrael in 2013 or whenever it was when we put on that show in Beit Shemesh. He was excited to come back. And also on a personal level, when I came here, when I was 18, or even earlier when I was 16, I came here as like a punk teenager. You know, it don't mean to be rude about myself, but I wasn't spiritually awake at that point. But there was something going on here. I just felt different, even with the fact that I was playing around, with women, all kinds of things I was doing at that age of 16, and I wasn't so tuned into my soul. But I understood that as much as I was doing a global tour of the wrong things, but I suddenly woke up on an inner level. There's something going on here. I felt by the end of the trip, after being here a month as a teenager, I felt like something like these birthright people that come, and something touches them here. And I don't know how to explain it. I remember when I came back to London, I felt tremendously depressed and deflated, not just for the fact I missed all my friends from the trip, but something inside me, I just felt like I was missing on a deep way. And only when I came back here when I was 18, come back to the Holy Land, and I met with people I met with real shepherds. I met with holy souls that were in Svat and Safad, and I was in Yerushalayim, and I had this opportunity to taste the beauty of Yerushalayim and the Koisel, and I got to go to wonderful Shabbases and see, like I said, Eretz Yisrael is the seventh land, and Shabbos is the seventh day, and there's a song in Eretz Yisrael. It has a song like the seven notes of a scale. It's a very spiritual experience. I suddenly, as a musician, I brought my guitar when I went on this trip, and I came alive musically. I haven't put out much music in the last however many years because my focus has been to help other people with their music, but I came alive, and Eretz Yisrael has that energy in it, that creative energy, and that's my hope on my Unity projects, my Unity Inspires projects, my Unity bookings, to bring together inspired individuals who live here, a lot of musicians, a lot of souls, a lot of creatives, and thank God Arush has kindly allowed me to bring them to his platform with the Emuna class and host them together with you. Like we had, as we mentioned at the beginning of the class, David Weinberg, such beautiful music, so deep, from such a deep soul. Or Shlomo Katz who's come out, Eitan Katz, all the other wonderful guests, there's Daniil, all our guests who've come and they have such deep souls and have inspired all our people that connect with us. And truth is, it needs to be Emuna Global, this energy that creating Kimetzion Teitze Torah, Divisive Yerushalayim, the Torah, the life of creativity, truth needs to go out from Yerushalayim into the world, and that's my hope, that we'll be able to experience that on a real level, so that people can understand it. It will quiet all the negative voices when they see such pure music, such pure art, such pure aspects of that everyone on all different levels of age can relate to. That's the power. That's one of my visions I have, living here in Yerushalayim, and I'm writing a book, United Souls. I'm trying to bring together this whole concept personally of how my soul was lit up. The vision I had of Eretz Yisrael was Hine Matu V'Naim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How wonderful it would be when all the people of the world would dwell together beautifully, pleasantly. And that's the vision I had. I sang that pasuk running along the beach in England. How am I going to get out of here and get back to Israel? How am I going to get back to this holy land that I touched on when I was a teenager a few times? And I did. I made it here. And it's been amazing. It's been a struggle, but it's been an amazing struggle. Struggle inspired. I once made a Facebook page. It still exists. Struggle inspired. It should realize you're meant to struggle, but do it with inspiration. Do it in the Holy Land. Make a living here. It's amazing. So, it's funny because in the same week, someone's reached out to me from a place in Savannah if I would be interested in visiting there and maybe even moving there, checking it out as an option. So a big part of me is like, there's no way. I'm going to do whatever I can to live in Yerushalayim. My whole heart's in Yerushalayim. I said that to holy rabbis once when I moved back from Beitar. I used to live in Beitar for a bunch of years, and I moved back to Jerusalem, thank God, Yerushalayim. And I thank God that many years. I've been here now again another 3 years, and in total, I think that's over around 18 years. And yet to live in Jerusalem, it's a big merit. With the 4 or 5 years I was in Beitar and another year in Beit Shemesh, I had the opportunity to live in this holy place, to live here. How could I? And I said to the rabbis, I'll do anything to live here, even though it's hard financially, seemingly. Once again, the Rabbi already broke that. He said, no, there's even more abundance here. There's more abundance even in Jerusalem, even more so than Eretz Yisrael. And like we once said, that the whole of the energy of Jerusalem is going to spread out to the whole of Israel. And the whole of Eretz Yisrael, the holiness and the wisdom of Eretz Yisrael, is going to spread out to the whole world. And that's part of what's going to happen when the war of Mashiach comes, the spiritualization of the whole world. It's going to become a very spiritual, but it's all going to come from the center. That's why it's so important that we understand this central point, and we learn how to, with a good mission, to get our mission from that central place, from that soul level, and to then go and focus on the good. To realize that there's good, tov ma'od ma'od. It's very, very good land, and you have to be very, very humble. As this rabbi said yesterday in the Sheva Brachos of Jodeci, you have to be very, very humble to receive the goodness of this land. And those two things come together. Anyway, I want to finish off our Emuna class. As you can see, the message is very clear that we have the ability in our daily life, wherever we are in the world, to tap into the light of Eretz Yisrael and to understand the goodness, to look good, to not say bad things about this holy place, to not say bad things about the people, to not say bad things about all the politics and stuff, but to focus in on so much soul, there's so much wisdom, there's so much positivity, so much creativity to be developed. And we have to give that space in our heart and our mind to begin developing that, and to do it in a collaborative, unified, united way. That's my purpose. So that's what I'm here with Arush for. He already is the king of Emuna, let's say. Yeah, someone quoted a different Rav the other day on a halakha thing. The king of Emuna. I choose to differ. I think Rav Arush, if you're going to say anyone's a king of Emuna in this generation, it would be Rav Shalom Arush. He's the person who's brought the concepts of Emuna to the world more than anyone. And we all have to have appreciation for what he's done and keep helping him in that project. And now it's joined together with love, with Avos Yisrael, with Avos Chinam, with complete dedication and self-sacrifice to give over love. And that in itself will give over unity. That will bring the unity, which is my abode of united souls, which is funny how we ended up coming together these last few years as everything shifted, as we're getting ready for Mashiach to really unify everybody. So I really pray to all of you, open yourselves to the good heart, and the coming weeks we're going to have, just to give us all an update. Please God, today we're recording Eliezer Kosoi, aka Elion. He's going to come into the studio. We're going to do a class with Arush here today. 45 minutes. It will not be live. We'll record it. We'll put it out there on the live feed as if it's live, and I'll be around on the post when it goes out. My vacation, hopefully I'll be able to check in just to see what's going on the Facebook and the YouTube. So if you have any questions, we can get it to the Rav. I'll be able to get it to him at some point. And also the following week, big news, we have Nissim Black. Nissim Black is bringing his new podcast, The Deal with NB. That's Nissim Black, Rosh Hashanah NB. The first letter is NB. The Deal with NB is going to be here. Nissim Black himself in the studio. Thank God he's gone through a big transformation in a health sense. He looks amazing. Like you can see the pictures online. Just check it out. And please God will be Zochem et Hashem, all of us, to get together for good times, to really enjoy what it means to be an inspired soul, to struggle inspired, to see the good, and to do our mission in this world so we can feel fulfilled and come together. This part of Shlach with a Shlichus, and Shlach is also Shulchan, to come together at our Shabbos tables and to enjoy this one, do our Shlichus when we eat the Challah of Shabbos, and we make L'chaim on the wine, to enjoy being in this world, to have pleasure in a positive, true way. And that will be the focus that we have, to be able to go into the rest of the summer months, that we only see good and positive, and all the negative falls away, and we'll be able to dance together with the Binyan by Shlishi, and we'll be able to eat from the Zvochim and Pesachim, all the Korbanos, all the wonderful treats are going to be coming when Mashiach comes. Amen. Thank you for joining in. Please share this on. We appreciate you tuning in on a weekly level. Please leave feedback.